G'day, welcome to Mark and Sam After Work. Today I want to do a video that I've been asked to do and periodically get questions about, and that is the difference between, or the qualities of, a custom built rifle versus a factory rifle. And that actually is quite a bit more involved than just that. That's talking about whether it's worthwhile truing in action, or it's worthwhile the custom barrel in action versus a factory barrel in action, or whole rifle, or all the rest of it. So I'll try and bundle that all up into one conversation, not make it too long, but go through my thoughts on that. I suppose in most cases what people are really asking is it worth the money to get, will you get the accuracy versus the money? So you're talking about buying a normal decent quality rifle at whether that's $1,000 or $1,500 in a factory form, in comparison to buying a custom rifle in the $3,000 to $6,000 that a custom rifle costs. And those prices are variable in both ends of the scale. They move around different parts of the world, different dollar ratings, different options, different all sorts of things. Still the same question. And I suppose it moves back into accuracy. Accuracy is a funny thing. The main thing that accuracy is caused by is the shooter. And then it depends what they're doing with it. It depends how easy it is, how consistent it is, and all sorts of things. To start with, in a direct comparison, if you can buy completely the same rifle that you're looking for in twist, in weight of barrel, in a flexible option, something that you can upgrade easily, and you can buy that really cheaply. I have a couple of rifles in front of us. This one here is a 6.5 Creedmoor and a 26-inch barrel in a Hauer 1500 that started as a barreled action. We actually bought it in a plastic stock, but that's how it started. So the rifle started at very cheap cost for what the rifle was. I only actually used the barrel in action, and then I've built a rifle around it. So it's got an MDT stock, it's got my own bipod, nice scope, modified, put a new trigger in it, muzzle brake, all the bits and pieces went onto it to build that rifle. To start off with, it was a reasonably accurate rifle, but the stock it was in, the way the trigger was, other bits and pieces weren't perfect, but still it was cheap enough to buy at that level that meant there's a very cheap way to make a very accurate gun. And I don't believe I could have made, to any noticeable difference, a more accurate rifle if I'd spent twice or three times as much on the barrel and the action in this package, because I could buy something reasonably well that had the right twist, had a decent barrel for what it wanted, it already was threaded, and then pretty much everything else I threw away, but it still was very cheap to buy it at that level. In another bracket, I've got in front of us a 7mm Rem mag. This was a custom rifle. I've done a bit of work to it, but even as it started as a 7mm Rem mag, it was made by APRS, so Australian Precision Rifles in Australia, and they built this with a Stiller action. It's got a Madco barrel, it's got all the bits and pieces that I wanted, and it was out of the box, it was a lot more accurate than out of the box for the factory rifle. But it had an extra advantage. A factory rifle, largely in a 7mm Rem mag, would have come out with not quite this heavy a barrel, but the big thing, it would have come out with a 9 1/4 twist. This one was done with a 9 twist. Little tiny thing, it's only a quarter of a rotation that we're talking about, or quarter of an inch we're talking about in difference for that twist. But what that meant was this could shoot a heavier bullet, and it was much more suited to what I wanted to do. The other noticeable thing is it started in such a better place. Was it worth the extra cost for the accuracy to start off with? Probably not. Probably if I could have got this in the twist I wanted in a factory form and then done the bits and pieces, would have done it cheaper. It wouldn't be quite as nice, so it's not quite got the barrel, it's not quite as nice a action, but in accuracy sense, it probably would have got there. So what I'm saying on that sort of score is, in my mind, the best reason to get a custom rifle done, well, there's two main reasons that I would see. One is that you want features that you can't buy off the shelf. So something in the core of that rifle you want different to what you can get. So once you're changing a barrel or changing an action or changing one of those two major components essentially, then you may as well start off custom, because you're going to spend more money getting to the same place. And that's the most likely reason or most powerful reason that I can say that a custom rifle is better than a factory rifle. The next, which is just as relevant, although it might sound frivolous, is, I suppose to put it another way, is ego, pride, whatever you want to call it. I am one of those people as well. I like to have nice things. So if there's a case where I want to have this one that's super special and I want to spend extra money because I want that to be a special rifle. Can I really justify it in accuracy? Like I said, in the truth of it, no, I can't. But I want that special thing. I want to have that barrel. I want to have that action. I want to have those features. I do the same with cars, with cameras, with whatever it is. I understand that completely. Money's not made for, you can't take it with you. So spending it on it and having something that's nicer, makes you feel prouder of it, then that's a perfectly good reason. Once again, I can't justify that to accuracy unless those features are involved. Now, there's another reason that comes with that, is that you don't want to do building. You don't want to build it yourself. You don't want to put bits and pieces. You want to buy it and shoot it, that's all you want to do with it. Then yes, there are places where you can definitely spend the money and get a custom rifle and you will get more accuracy out of the box. Doesn't mean the factory rifle can't be got to that level. And for some people, that ride of, in a money sense, can be very relevant. You can buy a low shot count secondhand, or you can buy a brand new factory rifle that has the right core and then build on it. Might take you 3 years, might take you 5 years to get to that place. You'll still ultimately end up spending a little bit less, generally in that way of doing it, but the big feature you really gain out of it is you can do it as you can afford it and you can build up. You can also go for the ride. It started shooting at this level and now it's shooting at this level. That's a really nice feature to go with. That can be what some people want. So it's worthwhile on that. As I said, but ultimate accuracy, in most cases, if you've got all the same features, from what my experience, you can get there. Maybe not quite, but in most cases, almost as good. So the next bit that moves into is work on your truing your action is probably the most common thing I hear. Truing the action to create more accuracy. My honest opinion is, and there's a lot of gunsmiths that are probably going to disagree with me, but my honest opinion is no. You're not going to gain a lot of accuracy out of truing the action. And to take a factory rifle and true the action and think that's going to make it more accurate, I don't believe you're going to. Generally, that's not saying I don't think truing the action is worthwhile. Let's qualify that. But I think truing the action should happen when you're doing the other work. Generally, that's a case of you're upgrading your barrel, you're changing your barrel, then going through and doing it. Why not? It's not that expensive. Why not do it? It's part of, to do the head spacing properly and all that sort of stuff, to true the action. That's the time when it makes sense. It really makes sense. You're pulling it apart and doing that. Generally, guys who are truing the action and leaving everything else the same and talking about more accuracy, generally when you dig into it, what you'll find is, yes, sure, they trued the action, but they also bedded the stock properly. They also went through and set up the trigger properly. They did all the other things that if they'd done those, they probably would have gained the same accuracy. Any place that truing the action, it makes sense, like I said, when you are doing your barrel, then why not go through and do that? It's not massive work to do. Do it at the same time and you're doing it. The other place it makes sense is if you've got a funky action. If the bolt face is twisted on the front of it, if it actually is, there's something wrong with the way it's actually working, then yes, it absolutely makes sense. And the place that you're most likely to gain real benefits from in the function of your rifle is you're going to get better brass life. If you've got a bit of a kink, even a few thou difference on your bolt face, then every time it fires, as much as it's going to do it every time, so I don't believe generally going to change accuracy very much, but it's working your brass harder all the time. So you're going to get less brass life. Generally, if you've got a cockeyed face on your bolt, you're going to end up with case separations or basically damage to the back end of your bullets earlier because of what's happened. They're just working hard. It's working the brass harder. There's all sorts of things that actually neatening up that side of things, from how the bolt actions to that sort of stuff, which are just nice to do. And they're nice features. Is it worth it in accuracy? Like I said, by itself, I don't believe it's worth very much unless you've got a funky action. So, what am I saying with all that? There isn't a right way to do it. Yes, in some places, mainly if you want custom features, then I think it's worthwhile for a custom rifle. So there's also, I just want the hot rod, I want the really flash one, I want all those good bits and pieces. I fully understand it, but in accuracy side of things, and I suppose the last bit I'll finish it on in the way of making sense of it for people. When you, how would you put it? To have a really lot of money gun, it's awesome to have in the cupboard, that sort of stuff. But if you go out in a competition and you aren't doing as well as you've spent on your rifle, in some cases it's an ego thing, like I said, but to get pushed or to get beaten by someone with a factory rifle who've done the twinking, done the tweaking with it, versus you with a $10,000 rifle that is getting beaten with it, it's sort of nicer to be coming from the little guy who's beating the Goliath than be Goliath who's getting pushed by the little guy. Obviously lots of other things about the shooter and just having the nice gear, I get it completely, but there is an angle for working with a factory rifle and taking it all the way. Obviously, when you're doing your factory rifle, I suppose my main advice would go with it is make sense of it. There's no point buying the top end, the flash, the really expensive factory rifle, and then going through and changing all the bits and pieces on it. That doesn't make a lot of sense. That's something that is money not well spent. You could have generally bought exactly the same core and done your upgrades anyway. So there's worthwhile thought about it. Don't go and buy yourself the $4,000 factory rifle that's got all the bits and pieces and then do the upgrading on it. But equally, like I said, there's other reasons to buy things than simply accuracy. So listen, I hope that makes some sense. It's not too confusing. There isn't a right way particularly, there isn't a wrong way particularly. And I hope all that sort of stuff comes through. I hope that's of worth to some people. Thanks for checking in on us. We'll catch you next time.
Hi guys, Sam here. For folks that are interested in our products that you will have seen in our videos, these are all products that Mark has designed through our experience in ELR shooting. We manufacture them here ourselves, the likes of our adjustable bag bases, bag riders, bipod systems, muzzle brakes, shot data recording sets, and even our great fun little 22 long rifle target. These are all available in our web store, the links to which are below this video, along with our contact information. And guys, we work hard at putting these videos together, so we appreciate all the help we can get. For those of you who haven't subscribed, don't forget and hit the bell so you get notifications of when our videos come out. It would be awesome to get some financial support. So for those of you who can, you can purchase support bits on our web store which help us bring these videos to you. Thanks for watching. See you next time.